Welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's hard times. It's hard times, Daddy, for for our team, the Dolphins. So let's start there. Obviously, very devastating news about Tua this week, and he's out with a concussion. I believe he'll be out indefinitely. There's a lot of conversation about what should happen with Tua. What was your reaction to the news about the concussion? Again, at least his second concussion, third head injury in the last 3 months, not an entire calendar year, not even a full football year. What was your reaction to the news, and where do you think the Dolphins go from here?
I mean, the immediate reaction was concern. That's a scary thought. I mean, we saw all of that go down with the first concussion he was diagnosed with on that Thursday night game in Cincinnati, and it was terrifying. And if you're thinking of his wife, if you're thinking of his parents, but even if you just as a human being are looking at this man out there go through this, and now it's once again another concussion protocol situation. I can't imagine that they put him back out there, regular season or postseason, if they manage to continue this run to the playoffs. This is just a really concerning situation. There has to be a point where everybody steps in to protect the player. I'm actually really proud of Tua for being the one to say, "Hey, I don't feel right. Something feels off. I'm feeling concussion-like symptoms." That's a lot, especially all that he's already endured this season. I can't imagine a scenario where he's back out on the field this year, possibly even beyond.
So another team that you spent a lot of time around is the Raiders. I think it's ridiculous what's going on with Derek Carr. They're benching him for the final 2 games of the season. Silver lining, he can get up out of there, and he's going to have some takers. So what was your reaction to that news? And is there a team that you think makes sense for him? I mean, you have the Jets out there, the Giants, the Commanders, possibly the Panthers, possibly the Bucks, if I tinfoil hat that Tom Brady is possibly going to the Raiders. What was your reaction, and where do you think he ends up?
I mean, we've seen a different side, I think, of Derek Carr this year, even just in his emotion after the game. We remember just a few weeks ago, I feel like just last month, when he was crying after a loss. This has been a really tough year, possibly even tougher than the year that he got injured. And don't forget, I worked with his older brother, with David Carr, who sheds a little bit of additional insight on the situation there. And Derek has certainly been one of those people, just from the aspect of me covering this team and being able to follow his career closely on the field and in the facility. He takes a lot of accountability when he messes up, when the team isn't doing well. And I think that this has been a really big disservice to Derek Carr. Now, that is not absolving him of the issues that he has had with ball protection, of the issues that he's had offensively with the team as well. There's been no consistency with the Raiders, but I didn't think this landed squarely on Derek's shoulders either. But yeah, now he has an opportunity to say, you know what, it's the end of the year. Let me reset my goals maybe for 2023. Let me see what's out there for me in this NFL oasis. And there are already teams who need a quarterback. So I think he's going to be just fine, but this is a crazy situation. You know, his contract has the no trade clause, but it also has fully guaranteed if he gets injured. If I'm Derek, my hamstring hurts right about now. You know what I'm saying? Before he gets back on the field. I don't know that he can do that, but.
Well, I think it's too late. I think that's why they are benching him, because they don't want to give him the fully guaranteed money, and he hasn't been injured. So it's probably too late for that. But I'm with you. Derek Carr, new year, new me. It's right around the corner. Another team you covered very closely is the Niners, who they're playing this weekend. And I reserve the right to wait and see a full game of Brock Purdy where a team could prepare for him. And he's been astonishing. It's really an incredible story. And if they go on all the way through, I mean, this is movie stuff, right? He's not only a 7th round pick, he's the last pick in the draft, the 3rd stringer. Kyle Shanahan, it just doesn't matter who is in there. It's just going to work. What do you make of the Niners this year, and what's going on with Brock Purdy?
First of all, Brock Purdy, there's no other backup QB up for more success in this league than Brock Purdy.
Sure.
What a blessing he got to have been drafted by this 49ers team, by this coaching staff, and by a team that has the best defense in the entire National Football League. I mean, the defense gets out there and plays unbelievable. Then the offense gets a guy like CMC out there. So they've got Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel hasn't even been out on the field yet. I think that's very smart by the 49ers. Hey, let him rest. We're doing just fine. CMC is out there too. We're going to have a fresh guy as we get into the postseason. And Brock Purdy has done his job. Moreover, I think it's the confidence and the poise that he has, given the fact that this is a guy who has been QB3, QB2, everything but the starter in his first year in the league. You got to give it to him because he goes out there, he's not shook. It's never too big for him. However, yes, I agree with you, Joy. There is still a lot to be said of deep January football. And that's where you really see what guys are made of, right? These are different situations. This is a different level of pressure. But I think the team around him is fantastic. And I got to give Brock the props where props are due. He has done his job really well. I'm really impressed by him so far.
We're talking to MJ Acosta Ruiz, host of NFL Total Access on NFL Network. Another team that you covered, although it wasn't when they were in LA, it was when they were in San Diego, is the Chargers. I don't know if you know this about Chargers fans. They're not very happy with me right now. I don't really know why, but they're not happy with me right now. Justin Herbert is now in the postseason. They've clinched a postseason berth. I think it is I think it's a great accomplishment for a young player in his third year to now be in the postseason. I also think it's a step up for Brandon Staley, who people apparently still have questions about. This is the natural progression that they should be moving in. I don't want to, talk about people's jobs necessarily, but there are still questions about this Chargers team and how far they can go. Do you anticipate seeing a lot of changes with them next year if they get bounced early or it happens to be some sort of a disaster early in the playoffs?
I mean, there's been such a weird progression. Not just, I was there in San Diego, as you mentioned, the year that they transitioned from San Diego to LA. So I even covered them once they got to Los Angeles. It was craziness. But this organization has gone through a lot of transition. I feel like they've been in transition for at least 7 seasons at this point through different coaches. We saw Anthony Lynn come in. Now we said Brandon Staley. It's been a lot. The one thing I will give the Chargers, though, they draft really, really well. So the amount of talent that they have on that team should be way more successful, at least on paper, than they have been year after year after year, especially this year with the defensive additions that they made in the offseason. So I thought this team was going to roll not just through the division, but be really dominant heading into late December, early January football. So I'm glad that they've clinched, and now that they do get an opportunity to play in the post, but there's still a huge disconnect there, whether it's in coaching or what needs to change. I think we might see a little something once the year is over, but that will be contingent on how far this team gets in the playoffs.
So another team that has had some postseason struggles for the last 26 years is the Dallas Cowboys. I love the pieces that they have on defense. Micah Parsons, I think Dak certainly played a great game last game, and I think you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. They have a great running game. CeeDee Lamb to me is a number one receiver, maybe not of the Tyreek Hill, at the top of the league, but certainly can win you games. Can the Cowboys do it this year? Is this I stopped drinking Cowboys juice at the beginning of the season. I told my mother I'm done. I'm not participating in this anymore. Can they do it this year? Do they have what it takes this year? Particularly when you look at the NFC postseason landscape.
I think they have to stop beating themselves, right? Because we've seen them go out there, play really hard games, against really tough opponents, and manage to find ways to win. But they've also managed to find ways to lose. There have been a few games where just like, what was that? What are you doing? How did we even get here? Why are we not running the ball? We shouldn't have these questions in week 17 around this Cowboys team, especially in a division that's as tough as it is when you got the Eagles standing right at the top of the NFC East and of the NFC for that matter. So it's going to be interesting, especially when you add in the postseason, the 49ers in the NFC. It's about not getting in their own way. They have everything that it takes. They do. And somehow there's still these questions that we have. Is it trust issues? We just talked about this on Total Access yesterday. I don't trust it. I'm a little guarded. Make me believe you, please. Make me trust you.
Oh no, I